heads up, they already know they be messing with me on the back end, so I'm pretty sure words and all this other stuff thrown off and all that other stuff. And since I'm walking, apparently I can't have no decent service, but you know, I guess we'll go this way because I usually do. He usually does get kind of crazy over there. Come on, we're going this way. Come on, I'm walking, Brucey, Brucey. This guy. Don't embarrass me in front of all these people. Don't embarrass me in front of all these people. Think he's somebody because he still got his gonads. I don't see the point. As long as he ain't around no lady dogs, I don't see the problem and stuff. I don't know, lady dogs don't got no danger of having no babies. Um, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. So jumping on, and everything. Gave it a disclaimer. It's your girl Indigo. If you don't know, okay, now you know, and all that good stuff. Be mindful of the background. Um, yeah. So I jump right into it. Don't need no big old lead on and everything like that. That's only going to take a few minutes walking him. So yeah, last post I talked about, identity, and I consolidated two of the 2 points I was going to make about it. I did remember, so if you did watch that video, you go back and watch it. Like I couldn't quite remember, like there was like a third component that I had already kind of fleshed out. But that one, I had did that video already, so that's probably why I didn't really feel the timeliness of it. Um, and so, just a quick synopsis of that one, I just used the example of just like, how we tend to, as we grow, in our, individual societies and cultures, we tend to just take on external components into our identity. I use the example about, being a smoker or being a drinker or alcoholic, or, once those external components become like infused in your identity on a biological, spiritual, mental, emotional level, then it's something that actually hurts when it gets taken away, because it's actually being, has to get severed from subconsciously what you actually feel about yourself, to be true. And now, as we know, your subconscious runs 90% of your perceived reality. And so a lot of times the stuff on the surface that we do, like, like put on church clothes, and then on a conscious surface level, if I put on church clothes, I'll be perceived as holy, so ergo that makes me holy. But putting on church clothes is just like the physical part. It's not the spiritual. It's not your heart. It's not your mind. It's not, it's nothing beyond just looking like, you go to church. Hello, how you doing? Hey, it's Indigo, and everything. Talking about identity. Hi, I'm walking my dog. This is Brucey, giving him a good, giving him a good walking, and yapping my trap while I do it, and everything. He already took his first poop, so we don't got too much time left. so, so yeah, so I spoke about just the fact that we tend to take a lot of stuff outside of ourselves and then incorporate it into our identity on different levels. And then the problem when we want to separate those things or become addictions is when we melded with it, we molded with it on multiple levels, and people don't understand, like, even if you want to quit smoking, your cells are so used to the synapses, the biological effects of it, that even if consciously you want to quit, you got to deal with how it affects your body, first and foremost. And then also, did you grow up in a smoker household? Is that such a part of your identity since childhood? Or it's just like different layers of identity that we have to approach. So I just kind of fleshed out just like this. A lot of times people don't even that they didn't even have a chance to decide, like, okay, this is who I am, this is what I stand for. It's already just like problems from the get-go. So that's something I had already kind of like talked about on my Instagram, which is now deactivated. But so yeah, so for today, I just had it kind of like marinating in my heart and my spirit. um the alternative to that, like maintaining your identity despite the external. He sees another dog. He's super friendly. Oh my God. Look, it's crazy how scared of people he is. But like, not scared of people, but like how scared people are of him, with the breed dog that he is. And he is so freaking friendly. Like, he loves everybody and everything. It's crazy. He's whining because he wants to go smell his dog's butt. Um, but Yeah, Bruce is funny. So yeah, real quick, this ain't gonna be no long drawn out message and everything. Um, so the alternative of that is maintaining your identity despite external circumstances. So on this, me personally, I do identify as a child of God. I'm not an evangelist. It's just a part of my identity and who I am and everything. So I use those examples and everything. And part about being Christian is studying and showing yourself approved. So I do study and read, and I try to acclimate it into my multiple layers of being. So that's just me as Indigo. I was thinking about the example of like Judas is about you're not gonna I'm not no you're not that dog is minding his business. Okay, come on now, he goes to do your business. um but yeah, so with the example of Jesus and Judas and stuff, and just a pretty popular example and stuff of just having an enemy in your camp, and knowing, the thing about it is he knew exactly what his purpose was, called him just like the rest of them, and treated him the same just like the rest of them and everything like that, but just knew ultimately he was going to betray him, and that was going to serve a function and a purpose. So there's a lot in that book that's like really confusing. That's why you got to study it, everything like that, because it's just like, on a human level, it's like, if I know an enemy is next to me, I'm not going to be next to them for too long. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just makes like that makes sense and everything. But like, as a Christian, we're supposed to be following the examples, of Jesus the Christ and everything like that. So it's just kind of like, okay, let me go beyond my man-made thinking and externalize, conclusions, and figure it out. you know so today, like, I feel like it just kind of like, for me, within the whole idea of identity, one of the things about Jesus is that he knew who he was, despite society, threatening to kill him. And even if everything says you are who you are, say you're not, because we don't like it. It makes us look bad, type of thing. Like, society will know exactly who you are, but since it threatens their sense of identity, which is tied to these external, empty surface things, you know what I'm saying? Like, they want you to change who you are to make them feel comfortable, and so that was a lot of his, struggle and strife while he was here, in the human form. And so, when sorry, they keep kicking me off because, because I'm talking about, you know, positive stuff. Nothing crazy, nothing negative. Just trying to figure, this life thing out. So, basically, like, he knew who he was despite the external threat to, change who he was to make everybody else feel comfortable. He knew who Judas was despite the uncomfortable fact that this man was going to eventually betray him, for, a few coins and whatnot, and everything. And he even, at one point, he even said, go do what you got to do, to make an ends to a means, or means to an end and everything. So to bring it to present day, like, what that means to me is just like, maintaining your sense of identity despite, what the world says, despite what, friends, family, profession, doctors, everybody. Look at this guy. He's such a big baby. I love my boy. He's so cute. He's a Staffordshire, and he still got his gonads. I'm not doing that to my man's. I'm not doing that to my man's. I don't understand that. That level of control is wild. We're only here for a short time. You gonna take my gonads? No way. That's just my personal opinion. He also just stays home. He has like anxiety. He has PTSD like me. So we fit. Um, but yeah, so, long story short story long, and everything. Just, it to me, it's just an example. Like, now, first hearing it, it's like, nah, enemy in the camp, you can go. You know what I'm saying? You could go, but that dog's coming back. Okay, but actually, like, transcending my man-made mind, my man-made self, like my temporal thinking, my finite thinking, and then kind of getting kingdom minded, thinking like how God would think, is like, okay, like, it's about maintaining who you are despite what anybody does or says, or what the because at the end of the day, the story has to play out. It's already pre-written, and we just gotta play our parts in our positions. That's why Christians are even asked to forgive, like beyond to forget unforgivable, because if there's a means to an end. You know what I'm saying? Like all the stuff that's been done to me, I've made peace with it, or done to me, around me. I don't care. I don't even. That's what at this point, I can't even absorb it into my identity, because it was just a means to an end. You know what I'm saying? It just what I'm saying. I'm a girl walking her dog, birds chirping. It could have been any other way. You know what I'm saying? Today could have been any other way for me, and it's not. So I'm still blessed, still saved, still safe. And it's been a crazy few years, so it's like I have no choice but to see the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's even more reinforcement to maintain who I am and what God put inside of me, and then to showcase that. It's not comfortable talking about this stuff. It's certainly not popular. You know what I'm saying? I'm just sharing my thoughts. I'm not evangelizing or anything. Just sharing what keeps me, keeps me fed spiritually, mentally, emotionally, because the world is going to starve you. The world is trying to starve you of everything you got. Take what you got and then give you a percentage back, and call it a favor. You feel me? I mean, come on now. Hey, fight me in the comments. Disagree if you care to, and everything. But from what I can see, from what I understand, the leaders of the world ain't leading nobody but themselves, and leading your stuff to their bank accounts. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, we could do a bit better. Humankind could do a bit better. Mankind could do a bit better. In my humble opinion. So yeah. So as far as like maintain identity series, like the one side is like taking external stuff, taking external stuff, and incorporating into your identity junk filler, styrofoam aspects. That's where you get the addictions and all of that stuff, making God out of man-made stuff. And then the opposite is just maintaining who you are, despite what they say, despite everything. If you know you got goodness in you, just maintain it. You know what I'm saying? And the story's going to play out the way it's going to play out, because if you just keep your position and keep your part. He is so funny. If you keep your position and play your part, then you know what I'm saying. It's gonna pan out the way it's supposed to pan out. You're gonna win in the end. You've already won, and it's just about just letting that play out. Even the people so-called enemies ain't even enemies. They're just they're just what is the word? They're the thick in the plot. When stuff pan out for you. Like, I mean, who doesn't love a good underdog story? You know what I'm saying? If it all just went well for you, nobody would think that okay, well, of course it's gonna go well for you. But get a good a little overcome. You know what I'm saying? He was supposed to die and stay dead, but he had to die and come back. And that was his story. That was the victory. And it affected all the rest of us that need that know we need it, just to live. Other than that, it's a lot of death going on. So that being said, gonna be signing off energetically. I hope everyone have a beautiful. We're almost mid-June now, man. Mid of the year, middle of the month. It's a full moon tonight. It's 11. It's 11 days. So everybody has a decision to make. I'm reconnecting. I'm sorry. Had to, of course. They're like, oh yeah, and now it's all messed up. So I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go. I was sitting in the same spot doing just fine, but it'd be the content for me that be throwing stuff off. But yeah, gonna be signing off. Everybody have a blessed day. Bye. Messing with my numbers, doing all types of stuff. Bye. Say bye, Bruce. Bruce. People don't got nothing to do with you, man.